guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome back if you're new. I'm Alice, and I do a lot of random videos, a lot of which are musical theatre themed, including today, and we're back on the Simeon stories. Before I get started, I want to apologise on how long it's been since I did the last one. A lot of things went a bit pear-shaped. Obviously I'm in a different position today, mainly because I couldn't bother to set my tripod up, and this was easiest. And the other thing I was going to say that I can't remember what I was going to say. I can't find my notes that I made. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, I don't know if I say this, but I write a blog, and I always link it in my description. So if you want to read a blog, then mine is in the description. Go check it out. A lot of the time it's like not musical theatre themed. There's some book stuff. Yeah, there's some random stuff on there. But let's get into it. If you haven't seen any of my previous Simeon stories, I will link them in the clickable eye, which I believe is on that side. Watch it be that side. Now I've said that, but I'm pretty sure it's on that side. But in all of those ones, this is number 5, I'm pretty sure. In the previous 4, we were working on Act 1, and we're now into Act 2. So let's go. I need to find the notes on my phone because I've got random things in it. So the first one is actually happened before Act 2 started. So the way theatre works is I'm going to go for the interval because I can't bother to explain it for like the beginning, but in the interval, your interval's normally about 20 minutes, and like you get a 5-minute call and then a beginner's call. You might only get beginners, I don't know, I can't remember. But you basically get told you have this amount of time until you need to be on stage. 5 minutes is 10 minutes before the interval finishes, and 5 minutes, beginners is 5 minutes till the interval finishes. And when you get beginners, you need to get onto stage. And we were on stage, waiting to go on stage, and what happens from the performer's point of view, because from the audience point of view, you're sitting in your seat, chatting, eating ice cream, potentially, with a red curtain, well, I was a red curtain, with the curtain down, waiting for the show to start again. But from our perspective, or at least from Joseph, I did, we were sitting or standing behind the curtain, waiting for the curtain to go up. And to begin with, the stage has lights in our theatre, which I'm assuming it does everything, like not like lighting lights, but like a light that's in like a room, so that you don't, if the curtain's down, we can still see. So to begin with, that light was on, and then when it got closer to curtain up, they turned that light off, so it was dark. And I was standing in front of these kids who were our children's choir, and they all had to wear like brightly coloured t-shirts, and one of them had like a bright pink t-shirt on, and I think one of them had like an orange t-shirt on. As soon as the lights went down, all you could see were their t-shirts because of how fluorescent their t-shirts were. It's like, well, we're not losing you because we can see you. It was quite funny. The second one is from in Pharaohs Dreams, I think that's what it's called. It's either in Pharaohs, the Poor Pharaoh, that's what it's called. There's a line where it goes, chained and bound, afraid, alone, Joseph stood before the throne. Not in that tune, I can't sing. And on that line we were told, get up and move, because we were kneeling at this point because the Pharaoh was there and you had to be lower than the Pharaoh. So at that point we had a dance in the next number that started as soon as the music started, and none of us were in our positions, so we were told when it said chain and bound to get up and walk, and I had to walk from stage left to stage right and stand. And because of the way our set was very difficult to move around people and end up in the right position when you're the first one there. And either people missed this piece of information when we got told it, or they didn't write it down, or they were more focused on singing, but nobody ever moved on Chained and Bound, Afraid, Alone. So I just always got up and moved and looked like a right old idiot being there for everybody else. But I was always in my position like before everybody else, and then everybody moved and I had to move. And then in that song, which is called Song of the King, which is quite like an Elvis-y number, there's a dance. We had a dance, and one of our moves were like Egyptian, so like our arms were doing this and we were walking, and then we turned out in, and I was the outermost person on our, we had like a pyramid, and I was here, like I was the last person, was in the back row, and I was the outermost person. And because of our set was so big, there was like a foot at the front of our set, was no, the back of our set went off into the wings. Like that's how big it was. There wasn't any space between the set and the wings, and then our set kind of was like a pyramid like that, so as you got closer to the front of stage there was more space between the set and the wings. But where I was right between the set and the wings, because of how many people we had to fit on there, and we hadn't rehearsed with the set properly. So there I was doing this dance, walking into the wings, and one of our lovely education team, who I love, who's known me since I started at education, who was standing there because the 7 to 10s who are... No. Children's choir was sitting on the... Go away, Lily! They were sitting on the, like, the steps behind us. They had education members either side of the wings, making sure that none of them misbehaved. And I was just moving and just smiled at her because it's quite funny. Yes, what's next? And then after that bit of that dance, we all split off into a different position, and we had, most people went to the back and did the dance again. And this is still in Song of the King. But me and somebody else from my group and 2 of the people from Saturdays had to go to the front of stage and do a duet, which was it was a great duet, but it had a lift in the middle of it, and our lift never went right. It was absolutely atrocious. And there was also a bit where it was like a scoop, so my partner had his hands around like my waist and like on my back, and I had to kind of do that. That was really bad, but I had to do that, and it just... The first couple of times we did that, it just went wrong. And there was one time when we did it and I was gonna go, I was starting to fall, and my partner tried to save me. I was like, don't, I'm gone. So I ended up, because he was like on top of me and I was at the, like, he was here and I was as far down as I get. So because I was falling and he was trying to save me, but I was going, he ended up on top of me. Not on top of, like, not fully on top of me, but he nearly did, which was quite funny. Then in the song, I've got my script behind me and I can't remember what the song's called. I will tell you. Right, I'm gonna say it's Stone the Crows. In Stone the Crows, yeah, in Stone the Crows, there's a bit where the girls, or the adoring girls, depending on what it's, adoring girls in choir say, Joseph, how can we ever say all that we want to about you? We're so glad that you came our way. We would have perished without you. And then the end they sing, what do they sing at the end? Greatest man since Noah, only goes to show her. And we had a dance, and it was like the same dance, and you had Joseph started off in the middle and then he moved to stage left. And we had a bit we had to push him forwards, and he was downstage left, which means he was at the front of stage. And our stage has a pit in front of it, so it's got like, our stage is like a square, that's a rectangle, with like a semicircle that is just hollow, that the band sits in. And we very nearly pushed one of the 2 Josephs into the pit because of how viciously we were pushing them. I don't know if my script went in there. Then in Canaan Days, there are a couple of stories in Canaan Days. Canaan Days was a mess. I always find Canaan Days is quite close to the end of the show. The end of a show that we do is always rushed and is never as good as the beginning of a show because we don't have the time. So this was one of the numbers we'd done quite a lot, and we had this like bag of props put on the middle of stage, and it had plastic wine glasses that somebody had painted the inside of to make it look like there was wine in it, which then failed when we had to say there wasn't any wine left because there was clearly wine in the thing. We had potentially some baguettes, some like garlic or onion like necklace things, it was a French number, and berets and moustaches. The moustaches, we were getting things out and we were told grab a moustache and grab a moustache, so I tried to grab one, but when I ripped it off the piece of paper the sticky stuff didn't come off, so it just kept falling off. And we had like our berets didn't stay on very well. No, our berets were alright, but we had to take our berets off and then put them back on again, and my costume before that had a headdress. I think I've spoken about this costume before. It was like a gold like elastic band that had a snake on the top and then gold things coming down my face, and I was still in that costume for my Egyptian dancer costume in Canaan Days because there wasn't any time to change, because I should have been in my brother's costume, but after whatever I just said, Stone the Crows is in Egypt, there wasn't time between that and Canaan Days to change into my brother costume. So I still had this headdress thing on, and I had my beret, and every time I took it off the headdress kind of came with it and it ended up falling. I was like, I can't fiddle with it, I need to leave it. But the cups were so fragile, all you had to do was knock it and somebody else, and because we were quite frantically trying to get things out of the bag, if you grabbed it and hit it against somebody else's arm, you broke the cup, which meant that our cups were okay, but they weren't great. But the Saturdays, when they did theirs, their cups were in a horrible state because they'd all broken, and we was like, yeah, I feel like Wednesday should have been more gentle with them. I was like, well, they shouldn't have given it to us if they're going to break. Like, it's not even just our fault, because there was a lot of Saturdays there filling in for people who were, because we didn't have enough people for the brothers, so a lot of the Saturdays were brothers for us as well. So it was obviously a collective issue that they did end up being broken. But I don't think it's fair to fully blame it on the Wednesdays, but it's what happened. And then I had to have a quick change at the end of that number, because I then had to be in my, then they said, oh yeah, and then go run off stage, get into your brother's costume and come back on for the Brothers Come to Egypt, Grovel. But in that bit, because as I said, there was a Hessian bag, and did I have to bring it on? Somebody brought on the bag, I can't remember who it was. But I was told for Saturdays to collect the bag from stage after the number because it isn't needed. And I was told this, but the person who had to do it for us wasn't told, so I told her like that we needed to do it. And then I went on stage at the end of Canaan Days to grab the bag, and the bag wasn't there. There were like berets and cups all over the floor, so I picked them up, but it was a blackout anyway, so I ended up walking on stage to pick up a prop that wasn't there, which was lovely. Next one. So then for the number Grovel, which is like the end of Brothers Come to Egypt, we had a dance break that we were kneeling on the floor for, and it was quite a contemporary feel. It was like, you can't see my arms because of how bad my camera is. We had to punch the floor, and we had to roll, and we kept going from like kneeling and like sitting on our legs to kneeling and being higher. So like I can't really show you because you can't really see, but we went from being like this to being like this. So like our levels changed. And when we did that, my trousers didn't fit properly because I was given 3 pairs of trousers to try on. One was too short at the like legs, one was too big at the waist, and one was okay, like it was a bit tight, but it was okay. So I went with the ones that were the best fitting, obviously. And they were the ones that were a bit tight, but they were the best ones. But when we had our costume fitting, I had a pair of leggings underneath my costume because that's what they told us to come in. But I did only wear a pair of shorts under it on the actual show, so I was like, oh, it might be okay. And it was okay until we got to that number, and all that was like fastening it was, I can't remember if there was a zip on it. There might have been a zip on the trousers, but there was also like Velcro, so the Velcro kept coming undone and it just felt a bit odd. And I wasn't going to say anything because it wasn't an issue because it was only for that number, and obviously I had shorts on underneath anyway. But then the person came up to me, the person who was doing costumes came up to me like a couple of hours before the show. It's like, I'm getting you a new shirt because your shirt looks too modern. I was like, my trousers kept coming undone in Grovel yesterday, just in case. She was like, oh, okay, I'll see if I can find another pair of trousers. But to be completely honest, because I got given a new shirt, it wouldn't have been a big issue because the shirt was a lot longer. and I had stuff tied around my waist, so it would have been fine because you wouldn't have seen it anyway. But I did get even a new pair of trousers and a new t-shirt, and completely a whole new outfit, because I went from having a pair of like burgundy trousers and a pirate t-shirt. It was like a white t-shirt, but it looked like a pirate t-shirt, and a headscarf, to having brown trousers, a white shirt, it was like an off-white shirt, a waistcoat, something tied around my waist, and a headscarf. And then when I had that quick change after Canaan Days into my brother's costume, I didn't end up having my headscarf on because the quick change was as quick as you could. There wasn't any timing. It was, you need to run backstage to the crossover where you've put your pile of clothes, take off whatever clothes you're wearing, put your other clothes back on, and I already had, as I said, like trousers, a t-shirt, a waistcoat, and something tied around my waist, which was easy. I could do that myself. We didn't have any dresses back like in that bit, because for other quick changes we'd had, our dresses were in the wings and they weren't there to help us with our quick changes backstage, I don't think, like in the crossover. And I could do everything by myself except the headscarf, and there were like a couple of members of staff that were really good at the headscarves, but one of them wasn't there that day because she was doing a show, she was doing a concert of her own, and the other ones I didn't know where they were, and so they said don't worry about the headscarf, just get back on stage. So I just got back on stage, which is great. And then I think it's in Who's the Thief. Is it Who's the Thief? Right, I'm trying to find what song this is in, bear with. In Grovel. Oh, is it Grovel? There's part of one of the songs that we had to sing. Hang on, I'm gonna find this. You're gonna be really bored of me, but I swear there's a bit where I wrote "Sing for Saturday." Right, I think it's this bit. Joseph handed them the sackloads of food, and they grovelled with base gratitude. Then unseen, Joseph nipped round the back and planted a cup in young Benjamin's sack. When the brothers were ready to go, Joseph turned to them all with a terrible stare and said no. I think it's that bit. It might not be that bit, but we're going with it being that bit. We were meant to sing for Saturdays, and Saturdays were meant to sing for us, because it didn't make sense for us to sing it because we were the brothers. But we were there, and Saturdays didn't sing it for us. So it was great. So their singing teacher ended up singing it off stage. I can't remember how many of us sang it Saturdays. And I think the last one I'm going to tell for today is from Benjamin Calypso. So we had two different dances going on in this one, and one of them was the dance that the brothers did that was like a really fun dance, and it was really great. I don't know how I did this. It was a really good dance. It was one of the last ones to get taught, so it was a bit rushed, but it was a really fun dance to do. And the other dance was with maracas, and when you weren't a brother, you were meant to be at the back, standing behind, so the our like set kind of went like that, standing behind the, I'll find a picture whilst I do this. We had to stand behind the kids, and you went to have a pair of maracas doing this maraca dance, but nobody taught us the maraca dance. Everybody like told us about the maraca dance, but well, actually I think we probably were told about the maraca dance, but nobody showed us the maraca dance. So we didn't learn the maraca dance at all. And then it came to a week before the show, and we were doing our rehearsal for like with everybody, and there were a couple of people from Saturdays standing at the back doing this maraca dance without any maracas. They were like this. It's great. But hang on a minute, I'm gonna find a picture because I've just found. Okay, so this is our set from the side, like you can't really see. Oh, you literally can't see it. Oh, hello. That's not what I want. So it kind of looked like that. That was from the side, not the front. But I'll see. I can find a picture from the front. You just have to bear with. Wait. So we was like, and then somebody said to us, shouldn't you be on? So I just got up and walked on because I was told I needed to be on, and I knew at that point, I knew that I needed to be doing the maraca dance. So I was like, what do I do to this person who was standing there? So just copy me. So I just copied him, and it was really simple. It was like, shake to the left, shake to the right, shake to the left, shake to the right, up, down, repeat. That was it. But nobody taught us that. And then people were like, being like, Alice, what's the dance? I was like, I don't know, I'm just copying this person. This is our set from the front. Ignore the, like, that's our set from the front. So the kids sat on the, like, the bits where the sheep are. So everyone was like, Alice, what's the maraca dance? I'm like, I don't know, I'm just copying. And then it got to the, like, the show, and everybody was still like, what's the maraca dance? I'm like, I don't know, I'm still just copying. But we did the maraca dance, even though nobody taught us the maraca dance, and yeah, but it was really fun. So we only have 1, 2, 3 more songs left in the script. There are like story times that are more technical, that don't relate to a song left, but we've nearly done. So as I said at the beginning of the video, please do check out my blog, and like and comment and subscribe if you fancy, and leave me some suggestions of some videos you want to see. I was going to do a 6 cover. I was going to do Don't Lose Your Head, but my phone didn't let me film it, and I didn't want to film it on the camera. But I can do that if you want me to do that. Just let me know, or give me some other suggestions. Bye guys.